Good morning, everybody. So nice to be with you again. And this is an open door where Cindy brings us together to learn from each other, to share ideas, and to laugh together and have fun together while being fully supported and loved. And I love coming here. And on Friday mornings, we do a book study. I'm going to say it starts at 10 o'clock. and It's called Sharing the Word. And what we've been doing since last week, I think it's only last week that we started with this book, Resurrection, which is channeled words, unedited transcripts of channeling that Paul Selig receives. And we just listened to a clip from him, which I thought was quite beautiful. It just helps us to settle in. So we last week had a brief discussion about how we're going to read. Is there anyone and we decided that we would just ask for volunteers. By the way, Amy can't be here today. She says hello and sends her love to everyone. So since she isn't here to help me facilitate, all of you are going to help me facilitate. We're all in this together. Would anyone like to play a part or have a part of reading today? Cindy, Rick, okay. If I forget.
And Patricia raised her hand, and Izzy raised her hand, and Pat raised her hand.
We are in the introduction on page, I'm trying to remember. We didn't get very far. We're on page 11. For those of you who have the book, where we read the first couple of paragraphs on page 11. And I thought we could start with the very last sentence at the end of the second paragraph, because it leads into the next paragraph that we're beginning. So I'll just read that sentence, and then Rick, would you take over and read the next paragraph after that? The end of that paragraph was, when you stop denying the divine, you claim a new level of alignment, energetic coherence, wherein all things indeed are made new. And that was just exactly what I received from that video we just watched. All things made new, claiming the truth of who we are. So Rick, if you will unmute and read that next paragraph for us.
I will, thank you. Morning, friends.
Good morning.
Now the idea of being made new is confusing for most of you. You think it means you pretend you weren't who you were yesterday, or that the problems are gone, or you are lifting all things to your idea of heaven. In fact, to be made new or re-articulated is the presence of the divine, operating as and through you, that calls into being that which is of like accord. The body you have and the body you hold, but the body you hold is in a new coordinate coherence. The energetic field you hold is still present, but aligned in a higher template. Do you want me to continue?
I'd like to know if anyone has any thoughts on that. Does it create a response in you? And kind of what Richard said earlier about Cindy and the deer. They were attracted to the energetic field that she was holding. Cindy?
Well, I just, because it's alive in me, I started listening to next week's Finding Truth. And Zach Bush was just talking about his identification of the soul as being something that is so much larger than the body and holds a very coherent vibrational space. And the body like all what he was saying is our illness is because we are out of alignment with that vibration. And that teaching was alive in me as I was listening to Rick talk, because there's this invitation to bring the physical form into coherence with what Zach Bush was calling the soul, which is this higher vibrational attunement. And then he was also saying that the soul is in alignment with nature. And all of that is just becoming more and more alive in what's here. So I just wanted to put it out.
Yes. You know, I didn't understand what coherence really meant, so I looked it up. And it said, the dictionary said, it's the quality of being consistent and forming a unified whole. So that really helped me. It's like, it's being consistent with the truth of who we are, aligning to that. Richard.
Yeah, what helped me over time is I believe that vibration is what makes the physical. So what you vibrate, what frequency you vibrate at, determines the health of the body, the physical. That's how the physical happens. First is an idea, then there's a tone or frequency that brings that idea into the world as a physical form, whether it be a body or non-aware substance or whatever. So when we, I believe, when we raise our frequency or our tone, we purify the body. The body is just a vibration. So the higher we go in frequency, the more purified the body becomes. And therefore, when the body is purified like that, then the true self is able to manifest itself through the body as the truth that it is. The unconditional love we talk about as being the truth. So that's how I put it together on my scientific mind.
You know, this is the first spiritual teaching that I read a lot of books over the decades and listened to a lot of teachers that use the word tone. And it seems so perfect, that word tone, because of how we love music and how when we hear and we listen to beautiful music, it somehow lifts us. And you know, it's using the sense of our hearing, and then it reminds me of fragrance with our sense of smelling. It's like tone and fragrance. They have these words help explain the unexplainable in a way to me. So I love this idea of tone, that there's a different tone when we're in the upper room. William, good morning. Good morning, you sweet man.
Good morning, y'all. What I like is a sense that I'm like an instrument, and there are many, many strings within me, or many, many tones, or many, many notes, but I'm being played. And I like that sense that I just get to listen, and I'm aware of these different, I don't call them melodies, I just call them tones. I've often said that I feel there are different levels of consciousness simultaneously in me. I'm only aware of whichever one at the moment of now. But that's what I'm sensing this morning. And tone, I love that one note as sung. And what, like Richard said, that my note, and it doesn't matter how well I sing, I'm just being sung. And like my good old dad, it didn't matter to him either. He just sang his joy and his commitment and his faith, and that was good enough. And it didn't matter what tones other were singing. So I just like that. I'm an instrument. It's like it is new, but it's always been there. I just haven't been listening to my own tone. Thank you.
Love that. I love that so much. I play guitar and I could just see the strings on the guitar plucking, and I had written down a quote from one of the transcripts that Cindy had given us, and the quote I wrote down was, "I am sung anew, I am claimed anew. I am being sung."
Yeah, yeah.
How lovely.
I love that.
That'll make me stop and think about what I'm gonna say next. Especially if I'm being in reactive mode. So it's so lovely.
And that's where I love the awareness that I don't have to do anything. I don't know what it's going to be sung through me. I don't know. I just have to be.
So Pat, would you like to read the next paragraph for us?
Sure, thank you.
Thank you.
Now, the idea of a template, am I right? Now, the idea of a template must be understood. If you understand that there is an organizational system operating here, and that the true self as you, that knows who and what it is an organizing aspect of the being you are. You can also understand that the being that you are in this higher way is in coherence to a reality that has its own laws and rules. We have taught the kingdom in prior classes. We will reference it here quite often, but the kingdom is the realization of the omnipresence of the divine manifest as all things, exclusive of nothing, inclusive of all, the divine as all things. When all things are re-seen or re-known as of God, the manifest world that you have experienced yourself through is indeed altered. Its intonation is changed, and what was known in fear can indeed be made new, or seen anew as it truly is, as of source. Some of you ask us, what does it look like? What it looks like is yourself in a new way of being. And the world you perceive, the world before you, is the world you see without the emblazoning of fear claiming you in like coherence. In the upper room, which is the doorway to the kingdom, all things are of God, and the fear you have known cannot express, because the vibration of the upper room cannot hold the kingdom in fear. In other words, fear is a creation of the lower strata. When you move beyond it, or are lifted beyond it, you begin to claim a world in coherence with it. And the coherence of the divine cannot hold fear, because fear is the denial of the divine, and that is what it has always been.
Wow.
I just read a part of the Course in Miracles was saying the exact same thing, that I think it was substitution, that there's only one substitution that we've ever made, and that was the substitution of fear for God. There was God, and we substituted fear. And this is, I think this talking in Course in Miracles talk about what they call the real world. So when you're, and this is Indigo, it's all God, it's all good, it's all. That's saying that in shorter, smaller words, but it's, I think, the same message.
Yes. There's so much in this paragraph. The lines that the kingdom is the realization It's like something happens and we realize. What does that mean? We realize, we understand, we all of a sudden have a new recognition of the omnipresence of the divine manifest as all things, exclusive of nothing. And I wrote next to that, no exceptions, because I like to make exceptions. The egoic self wants to make exceptions, but inclusive of all things, the divine as all things. And that's what that clip was saying this morning that we listened to, the divine in all things. And that when we know this and we see it, we re-see, re-know that manifest world that you have experienced is altered. It's like we're creating the world as we go along. And when we see it differently and align with it differently, it's actually altered. This morning when I woke up, for some reason, I remembered Susan Telford. And I was thinking of her and the poetry she used to read to us. So I went to look for her book, and another book fell down. And believe it, do you believe this? It was perfect for this lesson. For this, it's a different book. It wasn't her book, but it's called Falling in Love with Where You Are by Jeff Foster. And I just have to read this to you because it goes so perfectly. I mean, we just read earlier when Rick was reading, the body you have is the body you hold, but the body is in a new coherence. And then when Pat was reading, what does it look like? It still looks like yourself. It's just a new way of being. So this little passage from Jeff Foster, it's called To Your Knees. Life will eventually bring you to your knees. Either you'll be on your knees cursing the universe and begging for a different life, or you'll be brought to your knees by gratitude and awe, deeply embracing the life that you have, too overwhelmed by the beauty of it all to stand or even speak. Either way, they're the same knees. That just penetrates to me. Same knees. But the whole world looks different. It's gratitude and awe. Anybody else have any comments on this paragraph? There's so much in here.
Oh, well,
Is he? Oh, Monique.
yes.
Unique Monique.
Yeah. I put the wrong one. I wanted to put my hand, but I have a hard time with the. Anyway, thank you for reading that. And it goes so much with why I am here in this with you, with everybody. And Richard really explained what I'm trying to say. How can I say that? Yeah, for 12 years, I was abused, like sexually abused, and I would get out of my body and I would travel. And the traveling make me see, like, have knowledge, whatever I was saying. But I heard one time that the transformation only happens in the body. Whatever knowledge I get when I'm traveling in the universe or whatever it is it's like knowledge for the mind, but the transformation needs to be in the body. And then I'm doing the dyad every day, and doing the dyad is just like a miracle for me. It's allowed me to hear what I need to see. And I've been told, like through by consciousness or the higher self or whatever you call it, I've been told, I don't know how to say that, to grow up, to be more mature. And it's telling me like to be grounded, I need to be grounded in my body because it seems to be so easy for me to get out of my body unconsciously. So, because I don't want to see, I don't want to hear, I don't want to know what needs to be here. I don't want, so it's like a way for me to escape from that. But I've been told over and over, you need to grow up. And I asked them, what do you mean? And it's like the pain, my body has the memory of the abuse, not the mind because I was not there, but the body have the memory of the abuse, and the memory is coming out. And I don't know what it is because I was not there, but they are very clear to tell me that I always say the only way out is through. So it needs to come through me. It needs to come through the body and through the mind, that I need to look at it. It doesn't matter if I know or don't know what it is, but I need to let what was hiding, like in the body, like in the corner, like the Course in Miracles say, in the corner, whatever. It needs to be released. And the body is, they're trying to tell me that the body is being used. That's why I like what Treacher said. I am in a body and I am here and it's being used. Then they're telling me to use it, not to reject it, not to say, no, I don't like the body, it's bad and it's, it's not good. I have to do totally the opposite and welcome it. So I just wanted to say that because I realize how the body is important. It makes me see it different and welcome it and love it. So thank you for that.
Thank you. Thank you. That's why we're here, to be loved and supported in this as we learn these things. So, Rick, would you like to read again?
I will.
Thank you.
Is it noisy? Okay. Some of you may say, some of you say, yes, maybe. I believe this may be so. But my experience hasn't shown me yet. This is an instruction in experience. The idea of being beyond the old, beyond the known, beyond the agreement to fear. And as you encounter yourself anew, you begin to engage in a reality that surpasses what you believed could be, because any idea of what could be is still so informed by the logic that the small self has occurred, or the idea of reality that the small self can manage. To understand where you go in these teachings is to begin to experience the self beyond the idea of self that you have utilized to navigate a reality. It is to become the self who knows who she is, what he is, and how she serves. One's true purpose, one's true expression at this level is the being of the divine.
Any thoughts on that, Rick? No.
No.
Anyone? Cindy, did you say you would read at one point?
I did, and so did Patricia, and so did Izzy.
Okay.
But I will read. But can I want to read what Kendall just wrote because it's so moving to me, and the way Monique just gifted us, and the way she gifted us. Such a blessing, Monique, to hear your share. It brings to home to a deeper understanding of those that have experienced deep trauma and how the body holds the brokenness and the power of the mind. It also such a beautiful testament, like Sandra just said, to the work we're doing. Most of us don't even know the trauma the body is holding, right? And whether or not we need to know it or we don't know it, this picture that you gifted me with anyway, of how it's not about what the mind says or thinks or how it interprets. The body's holding its own experience, and the willingness to stand still and let the divine fill the body and heal it from the inside out. I don't know. I feel like I've been gifted something that I don't fully understand. So I just want to say,
I I feel that too, Cindy. It's hard to express in words, but I can say that I spent too much of my I was going to say I spent too much of my life being in my head, figuring things out, analyzing, evaluating, synthesizing. Maybe it wasn't too much. Maybe that was exactly what I was supposed to do. But now I don't avoid the mind. I just know its place. I know it's a tool. It's not me. And that is so freeing. And then the body itself, I did the same thing with the body, trying to like, I am not a body. I am not a body. Now I know that I am whatever I'm in alignment with at the time. I am, what I believe. I'm creating all the time. And this body, I accept it again as an aspect of manifestation, not as all that I am. And that's just changed everything. We are so much more than we think, so much more than we feel, and all this, so much more than all of the senses. So thank you, Monique. We are all grateful. So Izzy,
well,
go ahead.
I'll read the tiny little paragraph, and then Izzy can read the big
You can
one.
read the tiny little one.
All right. Now already you are this, but you don't know it. You deny it, or you would refute it, because it demands something that you cannot hold. The idea that I'm getting chills. The idea that you are holy must mean that all things are holy. And indeed, all things are when reknown as of God.
Izzy.
I wanted to say something though, to back up to 2 paragraphs ago, the last sentence, and the coherence of the divine cannot hold fear, because fear is a denial of the divine, and that is what it has always been. You know, I just got to get on my regular soapbox again about this, and that is when we read something like that, often it makes us want to reject fear. And we can't reject fear. Fear is part of the whole thing. And if we're a song being sung, part of that song is fear. But as Hakim Hamza taught, what we need to do is put stillness aside, right next to fear. Instead of rejecting it, putting it right next to fear, and in time, fear will dissipate. And that to me is a much more beautiful way of dealing with fear. So that was my comment. And now I will read, unless anybody wants to say anything about that.
I just want to add to that because I think that's so beautiful. That's what, I mean, for me, I don't want to reject anything. I accept all of it. whenever it's like what you resist persists, and it's just let it in. Don't be afraid of fear. It's like,
Exactly. Yeah. We have to allow that. And I remember on Wednesday you said something about, you look back on your life and you saw everything in your life with joy, and that's such a beautiful example of non-resistance. Everything that comes into our lives, and there's Indigo. It's for us, not against us, So there we are. Yeah.
okay,
Okay.
before you read, let's let Nindigo speak. She has her hand.
Okay.
Okay, Nindigo.
Hi, everyone. I love
Hi.
being here. Thank you so much. Yeah, it's like everything is here for us. Everything that we experience and feel and hate, that's here for us. And if we can just stop. We think we know what everything is. We don't. And, if we can just stop and go, okay, let me just be with whatever is happening. Let me just be with it. It's for me, whatever it is. And we don't need to understand it. So, yes. And I just love being with all of you.
We
It's
love having you with us.
such a gift.
It is. Thank you, Nindigo.
Thank you.
Okay, Izzy.
Okay. Each of you here who hears these words is about to embark on a journey of resurrection. That's a lovely word, resurrection. And the mandate of resurrection is the reclamation of all things that have denied the divine. Within the self, yes, but also within the world. This is how the world is made new. And your agreement to this journey, to this strange passage that we intend to undertake, will indeed be a text. And the journey of the text of resurrection is the text of embodiment in manifestation. The text that we will bring forth in the coming years will hold the key to deliverance, not only for the singular, but for the collective. Because as the doors begin to open, as the upper room is full with the life and vitality of God, as incarnated as each of you, the world will find itself in agreement in itself in a new way of being. That's comforting, isn't it? The world would, right now in California, where there's a lot of fear because of the whole ICE thing. People are being taken from their jobs and their homes, and it's heartbreaking. And at the same time as it's heartbreaking, as Ram Dass says, and this too, and this too. And so when I read this, the world will find itself in agreement to itself in a new way of being. That gives me hope for all this that's going on. Thank you.
See, I can feel your emotion around that. And I too had that last night. I rarely listen to the news anymore. Yeah. And it came on and I was listening and I found myself just blessing everyone involved, blessing everyone. Because, yes.
Including the ICE people,
Yeah.
including
Yes.
Donald Trump, including it all. Yes.
How horrible it must be to be one of those persons in that body at this time and place and being the one taking the people. I mean, that must be an awful experience as well. So, but I couldn't have come to that without these teachings.
Right.
I could not have. I would have been, and there's still, I mean, if I'm completely honest, which I always want to be here, there is some judgment still there for me.
Yes. Yes.
I still have the judgment, but I see it. I see the judgment, and I can work with it. I can enlarge my space beyond that. That's how I. Yeah.
Right. And, you know, all the people that we are attempting to judge, you know, and it's good to be able to see that judgment. I do it too. But they're all people that are just trying to keep themselves safe too,
Yes.
you know.
Yeah. Acting out of fear, acting out. Who knows? You know.
Yeah.
We don't.
Right.
But we do know, like I said back when I wrote no exceptions in the text, the divine in all things. And I just know that we can do that. We here right now. We can lift ourselves to the upper room, or be lifted to the upper room, be sung in that way. And that is a place of joy for me.
Yeah, and coming to a place of feeling compassion for the people that are implementing all of this. That is what is lifting us to the upper room.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's not being right or wrong on the issue.
Right.
That's like irrelevant, really, in this space where we are. And that's freedom also. That's freedom for us.
Yeah, and I saw a new definition of freedom, and it was freedom from constraints, the constraints of believing that there's anything wrong going on out there.
Cindy, you wrote something in the chat. I haven't been following the chat.
Yeah, it's a teaching from the guides that I hear a lot, and it's simply, you know, what you hold in darkness calls you to it. What you bless blesses you. And so it's that teaching that came to mind as I was listening to this conversation. And here's an honest example. Yesterday I walked into the office here, and many of you have heard this story. I saw the woman that almost towed my daughter's car way back when. And she was so Pollyanna, well, not in it. So she was just very friendly and very open and very happy. And I walked out of the office, and I heard it in my mind, bitch, like out of nowhere, like it just, boing. I was like, and right away I heard the teaching, what you hold in darkness calls you to it. And I immediately was just like, my holiness blesses everything I see. I know who you are in truth. I know what you are in truth. And it was almost as if that remnants of the grievance needed to see her to pop up. But it was like a cartoon. It just went boing. So yeah, there's still stuff here for sure.
Oh, but it was so great about your example and how you're sharing it is how you're holding it lightly. You're not beating yourself up, condemning yourself. I mean, that's just another aspect of the ego that wants to jump in there, and you're just holding it lightly. And for me, I just go, there she goes again. She must have wanted to experience that and see what that felt like. So where are we on time? Are we good? Are we going to 11:15 or to 11?
11:15.
Okay, William.
I just have this sense that in listening to Monique, is that somehow it's that revisiting the body but not as a separate body, but somehow revisiting the oneness, the one tone, the healing of the body. Somehow I love what she said and how she said it, and I felt it. And just as I could feel Izzy's feelings for those that were all involved in the news last night. So it's somehow, I can often just feel I'm so separate from my feelings because I'm protecting myself from them. I just don't know how to. And then when I fall into, and I love that, falling to my knees, and I just felt like my wife and I were miles apart last night, and an image came to me like being in a block cell. We both have our block cells adjacent to each other, trying to communicate. We neither speak the same language. It's like that joke in the prisons. You say a number and everybody laughs because they know the number of the joke. And yet I'm in her cell and she's in my cell. But mentally, we're like in two concrete cells adjacent. And I just, again, when I listened to Monique, it just gave me a feeling of melting, being sung, that note. I'm just there where I'm wanting to be in my heart in the moment. So I just see all this playing out, and I just want to share that.
Monique?
I just want to say, I was doing while I was doing the dyad, I was told very clear. I really heard it, that what I want, I have to give it away. I have to give it to somebody else. It's like he was telling me that's the only way you will receive it. I have to, if I see somebody outside of me, it's the same thing that everybody said, Cindy and Izzy and you. But it was so clear. If I really want it, I have to give it away. That's the only way you will have it. So, and only one more thing. The body is created by God, or was created by God. Is the body renew itself if I don't put the mind, if I don't put the memory that are, it's because I don't know if you tried in the Old Testament that people were living like 800 years or 900 years, like but it's clear to me that, and the reason why it's so clear to me is the fingerprint. I mean, there's billion and billion and billion of people that came on Earth, and there is not two same fingerprint. So that blows my mind away. I mean, just a finger, it is so small. So everybody's unique and everybody's created by God. Thank you.
Thank you. Oh, what a beautiful conversation. Izzy?
Yeah, just one short comment about what you said, William. You were talking about your conversation with your wife, and one thing I've been repeating to myself lately is a quote I heard recently, which was, good communication requires that at least one person remembers that neither one knows anything.
Perfect.
Isn't that great?
I learned in my 12-step program, I learned, bless them, change me. And that has worked for me. Bless them, change me. And it's quick, it's easy. I don't always like it, but I do it.
That's a good one. Thank you. I'm gonna write that down.
Change me. I've forgotten what paragraph we're on. Who read last? It was Izzy. Where did you
Izzy.
stop?
We
Where-
start with this is a teaching of love,
On which page?
the bottom of 13,
Thank
the
you.
very bottom.
I think it's your turn to read. Well, whose turn is it?
No, I think it's Patricia's turn to read. That would be
Yes.
That would be my sense of all the people that raised their hand in the beginning. Patricia, I think, may be the only one
Patricia.
that hasn't read.
Is that what you like to be called, Patricia?
Yes,
Okay.
thank you. This is a teaching of love. This is a gift for each of you. You may not get what you think you will, or you expected you might, because any expectations, indeed, we would say, is born of the small self, and the small self's idea of what can be is limited by all things it has known prior. When the old is released and the new is born, the kingdom unfolds before you. And this is the claim of the kingdom. Each one who hears these words, each one who reads these words will be known anew in agreement to a belief in the Creator that will surpass any ideology that has been tainted by fear or cruelly unpermitted upon imposed on others through force of will. All who hear these words, all who read these words will be in re-articulation at the perfect tone, level of agreement. Re-articulation at the perfect tone, level of agreement that he or she can hold. And as this journey progresses, the song that is sung, the sound that will emit, the claim that will be made, will be the claim of the divine, come as one, come as all, in resurrection. This is the end of this lecture. We will take a pause for Paul. We will tell him when we return what we'll do next. Period, period, period.
Any comments on that, Patricia?
Yes, it's like thinking about what Monique was talking about and what Izzy was talking about the darkness that is out there and how that needs to be transformed by giving it over. The song that is sung, that is sung, the sound that will emit, the claim that will be made, will be the claim of the divine, come as one, come as all, in resurrection, in the rising of one, of the one, of God, of the source, of the upper room. Thank you.
Thank you, Patricia.
I'm inspired to ask if we could read the claim a few more times, perhaps with different voices.
Yes, I would like to say something before we do that, if I may. On the previous page, when it said, "This is a teaching of love, a gift." And then it says, "You may not get what you think you will, or you expected you might." Because any expectation is born of the small self. And that really spoke to me because when I was doing the Course in Miracles, did it many times, and it kept saying, see with new eyes. I could see peace instead of this. Take on the vision of God. I mean, over and over about vision, 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 how we see things, what we expect. And I don't know when it happened. I think it happened very, very gradually that I can't pinpoint it, but all of a sudden not all of a sudden, gradually I got this way of seeing that was what I call fresh. Fresh. Like instead of with all the ways I had seen it before, with letting go of all the structures, all the expectations, and it just transformed, like even my relationship with my husband, to see him fresh each morning, not with the stories, not with the 38 years of marriage, but just this being freshly in this moment. And I think that's what the guides are pointing to here. When it keeps saying made new, when something is made new, we let go of the way we saw it before. I let go of the way I saw it before. And this freshness to everything, to the deer you encountered on the path without fear. It was seeing them freshly. I like the word fresh for some reason. And the other way was always filtering everything. Even when I was attempting to see the divine in all, I was filtering it through the conditioned self. And somehow that never worked for me. But to let go and to recognize, first of all, recognize the conditioned, what did he call it? Born of the small self because of the expectations and thinking what I will get. Even this whole spiritual journey. You know, we may have in mind, oh, there's going to be a strike of lightning or a lightning bolt, and all of a sudden everything's going to be made new. Well, it never happened. That was kind of what I thought, like Tinkerbell and her magic wand, you know, ding. But that never happened. And instead, just accepting it the way it is unfolding freshly and newly each day. I felt inspired to say all of that. Thank you for listening to it. Now, Cindy, your idea of each of us reading it with different voices, I love that. Would you like to start?
I can. And then after I'm done, I'm inspired to ask Alka if she's in a position to read it as well. And then maybe a male voice. Each one who hears these words, each one who reads these words, will be known anew in agreement to a belief in the Creator that will surpass any ideology that has been tainted by fear or cruelly superimposed upon others through force of will. All who hear these words, all who read these words, will be in re-articulation, the perfect tone, level of agreement that he or she can hold. And as this journey progresses, the song that is sung, the sound that will emit, the claim that will be made, will be the claim of the divine come as one, come as all in resurrection.
It's
So what do you say, Alka? Yes or no?
no. I was going to say it's interesting how they keep repeating that. Where is it? About everybody being given what they can hold, and it's repeated throughout the book. Not just sort of. Like you said, zap people with a thunderbolt. Ones who survive make it, and others go down.
Yes, it's such a good point. And that's why we all know we're exactly where we're supposed to be. It's not like there's some kind of hierarchy here where some are more, we're all exactly where we're supposed to be and we're being given exactly what we need. Would you like to read, Alka?
Yes, I can read that. Oh. Each one who hears these words, each one who reads these words, will be known anew in agreement to a belief in the Creator that will surpass any ideology that has been tainted by fear or cruelly superimposed upon others through force of will. All who hear these words, all who read these words, will be in re-articulation at the perfect tone, level of agreement that he or she can hold. And as this journey progresses, the song that is sung, the sounds that will emit, the sound that will emit, the claim that will be made will be the claim of the divine. Come as one, come as all in resurrection.
It feels to me like this is the perfect place to stop for today and not go on reading. I'd love to hear from anyone who hasn't spoken or who would, or really from anyone who wants to speak.
I just want to say this is the best church I've ever been to.
Richard, also.
I'd like to, I believe what we said, we're growing up as a race, as a human race. And this talks about one of the ways of explaining how we grow up. We raise our frequency or our tone to a point where we're all in the upper room. And what I loved about the quote we just read twice was, it can't force it. You cannot force it on other people. You can't say this is right and therefore you have to do this. But that won't work when it comes to spiritual awakening or maturing as a race. Granted, the society we live in, we all live in, has to have a certain order to it. There had to be rules of conduct, etc., in order for us to act and be free enough to express our beliefs freely. But we cannot force it. And I noticed within the illusion, last century, we killed over 100 million people on the planet by making them, those who resisted being forced into a new ideology were killed. So we have a long way to learn as a human race, I think. And I think what I love about all these teachings is they're bringing this to a point of consciousness where we're ready to accept the balance between chaos and order as a human race. And however you define that in your own life, but the wisdom that is at the center of that is what I think the upper room represents to me. That the balance between wisdom and order, between chaos and order, is the wisdom we need to have in our individual minds and understanding so we can love everybody, regardless of what it seems to be going on in the world. So, and be the love that we are in truth. And that picks sides. Well, I love this side and I don't love this side, or, that shows for me my immaturity when I think that way. I have to embrace everything and I have to take responsibility for everything. I am everything. So I just wanted to share that. Love you all.
Thank you. I think I have something here also from this book that we could end with. First, let me see, is there anyone else who wanted to say something? Okay, this is still from the same book by Jeff Foster, Falling in Love with Where You Are. But he quotes, I cannot say this name, I'll try, Sri Maharaja. But here's the quote. Once you realize that the road is the goal and that you are always on the road, not to reach a goal, but to enjoy its beauty and its wisdom, life ceases to be a task and becomes natural and simple in itself an ecstasy. And to me, that's like we read all of these words, and the wisdom that Richard was referring to is inspired by the words, but doesn't come from the words. It doesn't come from the books. It doesn't come from someone else. It comes from the knowing in your own heart. The wisdom that arises comes from the knowing in each of our hearts. And it's beautiful to read these books, but it's even more beautiful to me to be here with you and the essence of who you are. So
The quote you read, Sandra, that is exactly what happened to me. I am actually now enjoying being on the path. I spent so much of my life not wanting to be part of this world. And now I love it. Really, I'm loving, doesn't matter whether I, get enlightened, not, or nothing matters. The fact that I'm on the path has become such a joy. Love that.
oh, you just gave me chills, Alka. I love the chilly feeling. Thank you for sharing that. And Cindy, once again, thank you for this space.
Blessing. I'm gonna stop the recorder.